Hey guys, welcome back to the weekly recap show, where I get annihilated every time I come into this because they all make fun of me. So this is gonna be our first episode where we have 3 of our episodes that we're going over. This one goes over episode 15, 16, and 17, which is a Gnoll battle that lasted 2 episodes, as well as, yes, unintentionally, as well as the Earth Aramente, which my character Ambience went on. I need to turn the music down. Yeah, so the first part of the show, I'm just going to go over what had happened in those 3 episodes, and then we're going to have, we're kind of going to get into stopping making Zach bring up all the questions, because that's going to get hard for him going forward. But Zach does have a few questions for us tonight, as well as I have a couple questions that I'm going to add in, and if Michael or Jacob have any, then we can have them bring that up also. It's going to be more of a conversation other than just asking a ton of random questions that get answered in order. So, as always, we have Jacob, our DM. We've got me, who plays Ambience. We've got Michael back. It's been a few weeks since we've had him. He plays Bron. And then we've got Zach, who's our head moderator right now. So yeah, I'm going to go over the recap. Basically, we start on episode 15, which, coming off of us traveling, and actually a conversation we're going to get into with Michael, coming off of us traveling away from... Hello?
Jacob. You're good. Sorry, my dogs are freaking out.
I'm not good, because your mic's screwing up.
Sorry. Better.
Alright, so coming off of our episode where we left Western, we had like our little trek through the woods, and Michael had met a new nemesis, is what we're calling him, named Tracksar, also a Tabaxi swordsman. And then from there we moved forward after Michael had beat him, but they got away. And we had come across some gnolls in the woods, and that's kind of where we start this episode off. Episode 15, we take care of the first little group of gnolls, and then we come up to the edge of the woods, and all of a sudden there's a huge group of gnolls raiding a village, and it's pretty much a gnoll army. So we start taking out a couple, and then we realize there's a lot more.
When they attacked us, I want that to be clear.
Yeah,
they attacked us.
The first group attacked us, then we attacked the second group because there was such a big group up in the village, and we were like, oh, we need to help them out.
Yeah.
So, yeah, we...
heroes wanting to be heroes. It's people.
Are we all heroes?
Not exactly.
Yeah, I mean, at this point we can all be considered heroes. So basically, it's not really much of something I have to explain. There was a big Gnoll army, and they were raiding a town, and our group went in, and there's a battle, and for 2 episodes we battled them. There were some scary points. I actually got knocked out at one point and dragged away, and no one could find me. I think there were a couple other close points. The only really big information we found was that the Gnolls actually have magic users, which is a little known, or a known fact about D&D for players, but not to outside players. Gnolls are not really known for using magic. They're not magic users. They're mostly just
usually
melee.
too stupid.
Yeah, they're usually just melee-based characters. So Corey took his character Lochnar and moved him up into the central part of the village and found this magic user, or a few magic users, throughout the streets. And for some reason, one we do not know, they all started leaving, but there was a big magic circle. I was able to dispel the magic circle, so we did not get the effects of that. And yeah, the whole army just left without us. Like, they still had a lot of numbers, and they just kind of left. So we still don't know why they did that. We're assuming it's something Jacob will bring up in a future episode along the way. But that is not for here. That is for later. After that, we kind of started bringing the town back together. We started trying to find some survivors, healing them. Me and Thea, we both have healing magic, so we were able to do that. We had everyone gather in the middle. We met a character named Turk, who is a bard.
That wasn't his name at the time, though.
It wasn't, no. What was his name at the time, Jacob?
Nathaniel
Yeah.
It was Nathaniel Spencer. He was a bard. His real name is Turk, but you guys won't find that out till later. Nathaniel Spencer is hated by Lochnar because he hates bards. He actually wanted to kill him. But yeah, I mean, other than that, the mayor of the town, Gustav, thanked us, and the whole group, other than me, decided to stay back in the village and help out with rebuilding, putting out the fires, kind of helping these people who had just completely lost everything, just like restart. We didn't take any of their money either. We did find their money cart, and we just kind of gave everything back to them.
Yeah. So
that was episode 15 going into episode 16. So 16 going into 17. 17 is an episode that I had on my own. It's just a one-on-one with me and Jacob.
Heck yeah.
Animus leaves the group and heads north to Terra, which is where the Earth Ashari are and where the Earth Elemental portal is. So basically I just kind of like woke up, turned into a giant eagle, flew north. Before I got anywhere, I kind of saw the Gnoll army while I was flying a few hours in, and I just took note of where they were. Kept flying north to I think it was just a feeling, right, Jacob? It was just a feeling in a Scott of like direction.
There was a lot of nature magic in that area.
Yeah. So I got up to this mountain and I landed, walked up, there was a little riddle I had to do, got inside, talked to Patisse, who is the Earth Aramente, or Earth Ashari's headmaster, or their leader,
chief,
pretty much.
Whatever you want to say.
And I kind of just jumped into it. I used both my wild shapes flying, and then I just jumped into it without like really thinking, oh, I should take a short rest. So me and Patisse, he takes me down into the Earth Elemental Plane. It was a really cool experience. This whole episode was like really, really interesting. It's only an hour and a half if you guys want to go back and just watch even just the Aramente itself. Basically, we went down there. We started walking across the Earth Elemental Plane. We saw a creature that I, as both Caleb and Animus, did not know at the time. Now, as Caleb, I do know this large creature, but Animus still doesn't. It was a large, like Earth Elemental dinosaur type thing. It's basically one of the most powerful things on the plane. It's but nothing happened with that.
It could kill the entire team with one attack.
Yes,
essentially.
It's like one of the lords or like masters, but it's like also just a giant dinosaur. It's not like a demon or a god or anything.
No, it's just a big old dinosaur.
It's like Godzilla, pretty much. So we come up to this tent, and Animus and Petit sit down, and he hands me a tea, and I go on a vision quest, and that is what the Earth Aramente is. It's a vision quest, and it actually takes you through what my background is, which I had not even really gone through, and I had only kind of written out. So Jacob took me through my whole past, which is it's not a good past. It starts off where I'm a young slave in the Shadowfell, and I'm in my old room, and I walk out, and I picked which tunnel I needed, or which hallway I need to go down. I re-experience a torturing session with my master, as well as some things that I don't remember. Then I appear with my mom as we're doing work mining, and my dad is getting punished for something. Very emotional stuff. And then I kind of go through a string. I'm actually going to grab my book for this. I go through like a string of things that happen, and I think it is important just to look over this before we jump into these conversations.
Trust me, important.
So
it's actually like what this means.
So I've got Erebus Incubus. He was torturing a woman, and then we're open. Yeah, I'm in the mines with my mom. Then all of a sudden I appear standing in the chamber where Erebus Incubus had been torturing people, and there's a red woman with leathery wings and horns, what I would assume to be a succubus, maybe not, a bejeweled beholder, which is something that scares me a little because it may mean we have to fight that in the future. And to those who don't know D&D very much, beholders are like one of the things you guys would probably recognize. It's this giant creature with an eyeball and then a bunch of like little tentacle eyeballs coming out. One of the hardest things to fight because of how many different powers and techniques it has to fight with.
Yep.
That's a beholder.
A small, yes, that is. It's literally on the front of a few covers, honestly. And then
it's probably the most iconic thing.
There's a small gnome who I think I recognize, but it's not like Anzu or anything. And Jacob said that I didn't know this person, but I recognize him. Then there's also a cloaked figure who is standing in the same chamber, and he asks Erebus Incubus if he thinks that, or if he had prepared the boy, meaning me. Then I appear at the base of the mountain, which I would assume is the mountain where I had come from the Shadowfell into the material plane. I appeared at the base of that mountain and found Zephyra, and that's how I became a druid. I appear at the base of that mountain, and a cloaked figure is in front of me, and he tells me not to disappoint him. Now, this is weird for my character because Animus thought that his father had paid a demon to get him out of Shadowfell instead of a demon actually taking me out of Shadowfell and having me on the material plane for a reason. Something Animus as a character still doesn't really know is true. It could have just been part of the vision. So then I appear where I first met our group, the Flagon Slayers, where originally we were actually called the Morning Guys. That was back before Bron had joined us. It was our very first session.
I toughened up the group.
Yeah. And then I'm appeared in Whitestone at the party where our first episode of this whole series is in. And then I'm in front of a bell with an angelic looking figure in front of me. She says to me, "I fear what you will go through soon. Advice, beware the harbinger of death. He will be coming. He is among you now. Try to guide him to the light." And then I'm back with Patisse. So,
well, and like the last few of those happened really quickly.
yeah, they were.
You're just flying through that.
I was going through them. I only wrote this down watching it afterwards. Like Jacob flew through them. My mind's just been just blown through the whole thing. And I was like, "What's going on? Like this is not the memory I remember." So I come up. I'm back with Patisse, and I end my vision quest. And we ended up walking back out onto the sand dunes of the desert. Basically, he told me I'm not allowed to talk about my Aramente with anyone, like not even him. It's something that I myself need to figure out, and that's why I've never brought it up to the group.
Yeah, it would really help exonerate you from some accusations that they've been throwing.
It really would, but I can't tell them because
you don't talk about Fight Club.
You just don't talk about Fight Club. So I go out into the sand dunes, and basically Patisse takes me through. He becomes an Earth Elemental. I have to fight him. I obviously do not win against a headmaster of the Ashari. And then he gives me my own Earth Elemental form, and Jacob allows me to now have that feat. I can turn into an Earth Elemental once a day. It's not a feat you can find anywhere. That's just something that we kind of created.
It's like a homebrew.
Yeah, it's a homebrew that Jacob created for this. So now I can become an Earth Elemental, and the rock that I turn into is Ignis or Obsidian Rock. And then we head back to the material plane, and I level up, and that was the end of that. So yeah, that was the end of those 3 episodes. This one actually went by a lot easier because 2 of the episodes are literally just a battle. So first, let's go ahead and talk back to what we have Michael here for, which is kind of his first little meeting with Tracksar and a little bit of
Oh,
like
you're gonna do it every time.
a little bit more talk about like the swords and stuff. So, Zach, do you have any questions for him, or do you want me to jump into it?
I mean, I just had written down like what your overall thoughts were, like kind of going into that fight with Tracksar and coming out of it.
Oh, Bron was thrilled because he noticed the weapons, and they're weapons that he specifically wants to collect. He has a chance to not only see them, but see them in action. And obviously, Tracksar he's good at what he does. He's not just an idiot holding them. And so he was very excited getting into that fight, and excited the whole time through, but was a little salty about how everything ended because of Tracksar's buddy there.
Yeah, the other Ken.
Don't you just hate Kenku?
Yeah.
The other Kenku who, me and him had been, I don't know what the word would be. They saw, like, I don't know. Fuck me.
Good.
I'm doing great. I love trying to figure out a word that I just cannot think of. So
Man, it's like the intro all over again.
shut up. We don't talk about the intros. That's why I cut them. All right. So Michael, I have a question for you. In Bron's perspective,
Mm-hmm.
what is your like thought? Because I'm pretty sure Tracksar had admitted that he killed the guy who made the sword you wanted. And am I right or wrong on that, Jacob?
I don't remember him ever mentioning that. He just said that he didn't kill the guy who made the sword. He just said he came across the swords. He took them from somebody.
Yeah, Tracksar is very mysterious, as you know, Caleb.
Yeah, well, I thought he said something along the lines of like that.
So I will say that those swords were forged like hundreds of years ago.
Yeah, long ago.
So the guy who made them is dead already.
Oh, he might have said he like pried him out of the guy's dead hands or something like that. Something like around death.
It's probably something metal, because Tracksar's so cool. You know?
Man. Well, like in your thoughts as Bron, what was your thought on like this guy who pretty much just kind of like took the swords without like he didn't really like earn the swords, he just kind of got them.
I mean, that's true of me too with Rose's Thorn. It was just kind of given to me. I didn't earn that either, but that's just how things are sometimes. I mean, it's not all the time that people are going to recognize a sword's worth, and they may not even be like the most powerful swords around or anything like that, but they just hold a lot of, I don't know, he wants those in particular because of their craftsmanship, and that they are, you know, they're made by a specific person who was well known for craftsmanship, and his swords were well known, so it just created a desire for him to not just collect any random nice swords that he wants, but it gave him a clear goal of what he wants, and at the end of that, who knows?
Okay. So Jacob and Michael, is there a group of, or like a collection of swords specific to these like couple that you're grabbing? I know that like there's a certain maker in the book that Michael has. Mm-hmm. Is there like a certain amount of swords? Like, is there only a limited amount that he ever created? And that's
I think Michael and I decided on there's like 8 of them.
Yeah, something like that.
Which Michael or Bron has 1, Tracksar has 1, and then
they only count as 1.
Yeah.
Silk and okay, I wasn't sure if that was
they're
2.
conjoined. They're essentially one sword because they're conjoined by a ribbon.
Yeah.
But yeah, they're 1, so there's 6 more that have not been discovered.
Okay, that's cool. So you're pretty much on a quest to find like this guy's like collection of swords that he created, who's a long dead, very talented smith of weapons. So
yep.
Before you jump into that. So, like, before that, did you have, like, a specific thing? I think we talked about this before, because you kind of just jumped into the group, and we went over that. You just kind of, like, you just kind of were there one day and you were like, yeah, I've got my character, but like I don't have the full backstory. We're still working on that. And then once you played with us for a little while, like you started developing a backstory. Was this our backstory or goal overall? Would this kind of be a point where you think Jacob added in like almost like a very large portion of what your main goal now is?
No, Jacob hasn't done a whole lot with my backstory and manipulated it at all. It's all been me. Besides, I told him I want Bron to collect swords. I want him to collect rare, powerful ones, and then Jacob created this special smith, and he has been making those weapons. So besides that, the whole backstory has been me, and I gave him a clear idea of this is what I want Bron to do, and then he can, lay the breadcrumbs out in the world or whatever as he's done with everybody else.
Okay.
Well, yeah, and my approach to it is that Bron is very much like the Japanese style lone swordsman character,
Samurai.
in my view, yeah, he's like a traveling samurai.
He's like a samurai pirate.
Yeah, he's a samurai pirate. But
Samurai Jack.
So he needs a rival, and so I didn't really know. My dog's breaking into the room. I didn't really know who to make that rival, and then I was like, well, Tracksar made it out of.
He's still alive.
He made it out of there, and
unfortunately.
It's a good parallel. He's also a Tabaxi, and he's a member of the Clasp, which Bron hates the Clasp, so it's like a perfect storm.
Now.
It's a perfect storm of rivalry there.
Yeah.
So he's kind of become like, oh man. Would you also say that you have respect, like Bron has respect for him as a swordsman, or do you think you just more don't like him?
That went out the window the moment he allowed his friend to pull him away from, because it's not like Bron had no intentions of killing him, but as soon as he lost the duel, they ran away. And the fact that he even allowed his friend to do that is kind of, it rubs him the wrong way. Like he openly was calling him a coward and left a bad taste in his mouth and things like that. Because that's just how, if Bron runs into a fight and says, this is it, I either do it or I don't. If someone dimension doors him away or something, he's going to be pissed. That's just how he is, he's very, I guess, honorable in that sense. Like, he doesn't necessarily want to just, not die of old age. Like, there's some stereotypes for people like that just, they have to die in battle, so they'll throw themselves into it no matter what. But he doesn't necessarily want to do that.
Yeah.
He's like a more sophisticated Lochnar in the battle sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All right. Well, Zach, we can continue on. What do you have for us?
I was just gonna ask, do you feel yourself more comfortable now that you've been with the group for a few months, both as a character and as a player?
Yeah, for sure. I think that's really starting to show now with the group, because Bron isn't necessarily kind of a lone wolf, but he is slow to trust people, especially with this group. That's why he was the one that basically forced the group meeting after we bought the guild hall, because he didn't trust them. And so he definitely feels better, not necessarily completely at ease, because that's just how he is. But it's definitely, for him, gotten better, and for me, for sure. I mean, within the first few sessions of us all together, I think I felt a lot better, because I got to talk to everybody before and after the session a little bit here and there, and even if it was just more about D&D stuff, it was still set me at ease more.
Oh, we've had conversations outside of just D&D too.
Yeah, we have now. I'm just within the first few sessions. It was the only times was pretty much when we were forcibly stepped out by Jacob to talk to Brady.
Yeah,
he wanted to talk to Brady alone.
It was pretty much Brady's, and that's another thing is I I mean, number one, the way that Brady plays his character is like perfect. It's exact, because if we're all sitting here as characters and actually getting like either frustrated or mad at something in game because of what Brady's doing with Zygon, that is exactly what you want to see, is like actual emotion coming to a player because of what a character's doing in game. It's really cool to have that like kind of happening, but also at the same time super frustrating. I think us as players seeing like whenever like someone has a moment where they are taken out, and if you guys haven't seen it yet, what we do on the online ones is Jacob just asks everyone who isn't the people he wants to talk to take their headphones off, and then we just give a signal when it's over. So we still do, Jacob still does pull us out in singles, and I think the amount of times that Brady has been pulled out kind of created not only a player thing, but like also like not only a character thing, but like us as players kind of got to a point where it's like, man, there's a lot of secret stuff going on with Zygon. And like the way he plays his character pulls into that, and I think it all just like turned into like exactly what that's turned into. But yeah, it's definitely been interesting.
Yeah, when you play a demon boy, you get them secrets.
Yeah, now I'm a demon boy, so we'll see how that goes.
Hey, you got one. You got one last week.
I did.
Yeah.
No spoilers.
I think that Brady has had more individual moments with me than anyone else combined.
100%.
I think like the rest of the group combined.
And I think everyone else has had one besides Bron so far.
I think Bron and Lochnar are the only two that have.
I thought Lochnar even got one.
He did one time.
Yeah.
He had a date with a one of the professors.
Oh yeah.
Ended up dying at the college.
Yeah, there's even more backstory there. That's kind of funny.
Oh man. All right. Well, so moving on from there, Zach, what do you have going forward?
I will go to Jacob here. So I just want to touch on how episode 16, there was a moment kind of toward the beginning and toward the end where counter spells were used. And those were my favorite counter spells.
You heard it here, folks. We need more counter spells. Sorry, Jake.
Zach,
gosh,
I
those
thought
are
we
great.
were friends. That we just wouldn't.
I mean, just the pure frustration in you, Jacob, just really
Yeah.
showed in those.
Yeah. That's why they're starting to fight people that have inherent magical abilities instead of using spells. Because like, I hate counterspell. I think every sane DM either hates it or like loves it. I love it because it allows the characters to have agency in the story, but I hate it because it doesn't let me play. So it's just kind of annoying, and like I think that if I was really wanting more role playing, I would probably say you can't counterspell because it stops the story. But like, I don't know, I think it adds stuff where it's like as soon as you mention counterspell, I roll my eyes and Michael and Caleb start laughing.
It's hilarious. Like, it's so funny.
I think that it's a necessary evil that I am taking care of slowly.
I also don't think it's too overpowered in our campaign. Like, yeah, it's shut down a couple things that you were really upset about, but at the same time, like, we only have 2 people who can really use it, and I think like in certain situations, counterspell really, like, it can shut down one thing, and if you fail it, it fails. Like, it's a waste of a humongous spell. Like, that is a big spell to pull out.
And if I remember correctly, both of those counterspells I think were natural 20s.
Yeah.
To pull them off. So I mean, they were massive rolls, but they were just incredible.
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think the end of episode 14, where we were talking about Michael's duel with Tracksar, is actually where our original triple counterspell came from.
Yeah.
Possibly.
Yeah,
because
Hunter tried to counterspell the dimension door, he counterspelled that, and Zygon tried to counterspell that.
So we had a triple counterspell, which is where Jacob started hating counterspell, and then throughout episodes 15 and 16, counterspell came around and was used multiple times.
Would have been a lot cooler if it worked.
Yeah.
It's just like, I don't know, like, I can only rant about counterspell so much before people start saying that I'm overreacting. So final answer on counterspell is I like it from a gameplay sense. I hate it from a narrative sense.
It's fair enough.
Well, all of it's RNG. I mean, you wouldn't even blink at it if it didn't work as often as it has
Oh,
worked.
well, now it's gotten to a point where if Hunter tries to counterspell something and he fails, I'm going to laugh in his face.
Well, another thing I think that is really annoying about, and it's not Hunter's fault for doing this, but like the ways that he's used counterspell were for dimension doors where you were trying to get a character out of the area so that you could build the narrative forward. A counterspell in battle, where
That's
you
fine.
see
Like,
where
if
you
guys
see,
are about to get annihilated,
yeah, like
I'd
that
be
is a
fine
heroic
with-
that is a heroic
Yes.
moment that you see. You can see it in a lot of campaigns. Someone will pull out counterspell when someone's big spell is being used, where it's going to hit a lot of people.
I mean, they're essentially saving. Like, I saw someone do a counterspell where it saved the entire party.
Yeah.
Like, it does have use. It's just annoying as a DM, and I can't wait until I play a character that can use it when you guys DM.
Yeah, I've seen a counterspell
laugh.
that stopped from insta killing a character. Like the spell,
Yeah,
like the
it's
character's
very
already
useful.
downed, and the spell would have instantly killed the character because they were now going to attack them again. But the counterspell like stopped. It's really cool heroically. I think the ways hunters have used it has been annoying for Jacob because it's been on more narrative magic other than battle magic.
It's
so.
fine. Let him do it however
It's
he wants.
funny though
Fail.
for us, and I enjoy it, so I am not against it at all. So
Can we go to the next question, please?
So Jacob, what went into kind of preparing for your Caleb's or Animus's Aramente?
Okay, long short story here. Caleb was the only person that came with a backstory like preloaded into the game. And I was like, sweet. If this goes far, I'm gonna manipulate this beyond belief. So like, I don't know. The Aramente is kind of laid out already because of Critical Role and them doing it, but they didn't do the Earth Ashari one. They did that off screen. So I had to kind of do some digging, and I figured out that it was like a Vision Quest thing, and so that's what we did. And I thought it's a fun narrative way to introduce the idea that Animus does not actually know himself very well. So I just thought it was a good way to do it, and I knew that Caleb would do really good reactions to this information, because like I think if I did it to one of the another player like Brady, this isn't a knock against Brady, but Zygon is a very subdued character, so it's like, yeah, Zygon, everything you knew is a lie, and he'd be like, okay, I guess it is. Like, whereas Caleb, he put so much time and effort. Like, how many pages was your backstory? Wasn't it like 2 or 3? It might be longer, but
2 or 3.
It's long.
It's a lot. It's like
it's long, and I was like,
book.
Caleb is highly invested in this backstory, so I thought it would be a good way of like, the base of it is still there. Like, some of it is still there, but some of it is not remembered well, and I kind of like narratively. A lot of what this narrative is like 3-pronged. It's fear, loss, and regret. Like, that's kind of what all the characters kind of have, except for Bron. Bron's just a dude wanting swords, man. Like,
well, I mean, to be fair, his regret is what pushed him to
that is
become
true.
a swordsman as well. The scar over his eye was
That is true.
him feeling helpless.
So
And-
I just kind of want to weave that through the story, you know. So I don't know. I think it's gonna go well, and the story is progressing well. There's been a few curveballs, but I think ultimately, this story is going very well.
I've enjoyed it.
Cool.
Cool.
Yes.
We'll move on to Caleb then. Kind of going on with the Aramente. So you got, like, right at the end of it, you got the ability to become an Earth Elemental, or use it. I don't really know the right words for that. Can you go into more detail about using the Earth Elemental ability?
Yeah, so as I was saying before, Jacob cut out again. Is it a Circle of the Moon ability, Jacob, or is it just an overall Druid ability to turn into
It's a Druid ability.
Okay, so Druid ability at level 10, you can turn into elementals, but you have to expend both of your wild shapes when you do it, so you won't be able to turn into an animal that day. You will have to expend... You have 2 slots to turn into an animal. You regain those on short rests. You expend both of those to turn into an elemental. So what Jacob did was he's going to cut that out total. I don't even think I'll be able to use that ability. Like, this is going to replace that ability. Where I can turn into the elementals that I learn once every day. Which has its ups and downs, because like I could take a short rest every time I turn into an elemental, regain both wild shapes, and then turn into another elemental if I was playing a regular druid. But this way, I'm able to just kind of like get more story out of it. So like that one time a day that I am able to use it, I can turn into an earth elemental. I don't have the air elemental yet. I'm gonna have to talk to Jacob about possibly having my character like try to like use some training to turn it into one, because technically I should know at least like
Technically, yes.
No, I should know.
You're familiar enough with the element that you should be able to.
Yeah, like now I know how to turn into an elemental. I should be able to now conjure up the ability to turn into an air elemental now that I can turn into an earth one. So going with that also, it's not something not a huge spoiler, it's not something I've told the group even up until now, and we're only like 6 episodes ahead of where we are right now, or maybe 7. So it's not something I've even told the group yet, and it's something I've only used once, and I think Zygon's the only one who saw it. So another thing I just wanted to kind of keep is like, I don't know why I'm keeping that from them right now. It's not something I really care that they know, but it's just kind of like...
Because Animus wants a cool anime reveal like Anzu got.
Oh, I don't even care about that. It's just like, it's something I want to be like there when we need it, but not something that like everyone just automatically knows about right away, because I'm already a person who they don't fully, or they're just now coming around to trusting more after we had a really good group conversation. And even though Zygon's still a little bit iffy, I feel like Animus is a good talker when it comes down to being able to like communicate with people, and I think I was able to get to a point of getting them to trust me. And if they see me turning into this giant rock monster that is something none of them would understand as characters, then I think it would kind of break their trust. Like, oh man, like where's this guy getting this power? Especially when just now we had some stuff happen with another not huge spoiler thing for you guys. Some demon stuff just happened, so if they found out I can turn into a rock monster right around where a demon's talking to me. So, yeah, it's not something I'm too ashamed of to tell them.
Rock monster, demon rock monster, obviously.
Yep, exactly.
I'm good.
That's awesome. Yeah, I mean, the other things...
I have questions.
Go for it.
For Michael,
Yeah.
do you like that Bron's rival is Tracksar?
Yeah. I feel like it's a good fit. I mean, he's another Tabaxi rogue, and has a personality to back up the, I guess, healthy competition that they can have.
Okay. And Caleb, is your mind still blown, or you've recovered?
Well, because nothing's really gotten like settled yet. Like, everything you put into my backstory, I don't think a single thing has really been resolved. I still don't know anything of what that means. We
were at the mid-season, and this is for the finale, is what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
I would assume the Harbinger of Death, as everyone would assume, is probably Zygon. And I would also assume that as my character, Animus. I would think... also, because Thea literally had a vision of Zygon burning down an entire city, I also think that could be him. Watching my backstory and getting weird conversations, which you guys will see in the future from some Fey creatures, I also would not rule out myself in this in this scenario. It gets really interesting in some of the things that Animus starts finding out. So, yeah, I mean, I don't know. I don't know if anyone has too much darker. I would rule out Lochnar because he has his own stuff going on. And then I don't think I know Bron wouldn't be the harbinger of death, because I don't think his character has like the backstory for that. It could be Anzu, and it could be Thea, but I don't think it's Thea either.
I feel like Jacob though could be the guy that would just throw the massive curveball,
yeah,
and it actually be like Thea.
I think
Bron is really good at killing.
That is true.
I mean, Bron is the harbinger of death in a different sense.
Yeah, I guess.
But yeah, basically, it's like just a lot of those little riddles, like those little like things that you put into his backstory. It's just like, oh, well, shit. I maybe my dad didn't save me from the Shadowfell. Maybe I was sent back from the Shadowfell for a different reason than to get away from being a slave to a evil warlock. So I don't know. But yeah, I would say it's still kind of
good Caleb.
It's not put back together yet.
Yeah, it's like you had a fully complete, beautiful jigsaw puzzle, and I came up and dumped another box on it and said, "Okay, do this one now."
Do this one, and you got to fit it together with the other one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, I'm excited that everybody's enjoying it. And I hope the audience is enjoying it. These are really the episodes where things start ramping up, and we're kind of doing our own thing, you know.
Yeah, we've come to a point where everyone has gotten into it. We're starting to get a lot better with like some of the tech side of stuff. We figured out the music you guys can hear right now hasn't been able to be heard by everyone else in the group. But now Hunter's able to play it through his computer through like some settings, so we have them get hearing music. In the future, we've got more art coming up, some group art, so that's going to be cool. We've got a new setup that's going to kind of look similar to what you're looking at right now, so whenever we switch over from what we have right now, you're going to see kind of more like each person their individual boxes, so it'll actually be a little bit easier to follow like who's who, and like the setup should be a lot cleaner. Yeah, that'll be coming in the next month to month and a half for our season 2. Season 1 coming up to an end. Once we catch up with these recaps, we are probably like 2 weeks out from cutting season 1 and then starting season 2 of campaign 1. Hopefully we keep doing this for a while. So
I'm assuming that Zygon is going to be on next week. Is it going to be Brady, hopefully?
So Aramente, we come to him on... Might be Corey. So next week, guys, I already have an episode up. So the next episode, we actually lost an episode. It's not a big episode. I actually explained it at the very beginning of this episode. It's not a big deal. We lost our travel from where we are right now. I basically just joined the group. We traveled to Amman, and then we're in Amman. That's the whole thing. It just took us a whole episode to do it for some reason. Basically,
because there's story, Caleb.
Yeah, we'll talk about it next week. But,
I am an artist.
Hopefully, Corey is with us next week, and we will have some conversations with him because he actually has a big character development for next week.
Oh, you're right.
For
yeah.
Lochnar, yeah. So, yeah, we go to Amman, guys. That's our next week's thing. Come check us out on Sundays. You are not that far behind if this is kind of where you are in the story. So only a few episodes behind, and we'll be able to have you guys caught up really quick, especially when we get a full season recap coming soon. So thank you guys so much for watching. As always, come check us out next Wednesday, hopefully. These week recaps we might push to different days just to get them done, but they'll always be up on YouTube. Go check out our YouTube to check out our
Instagram.
More recent episodes, and then also check out our Instagram and our Twitter, because that's where we're going to hopefully start getting a little bit more efficient at posting stuff. So thank you guys so much for watching, and we'll see you guys next week.
Bye, guys.
See ya.